Welcome to the First Customers Podcast, everybody. Today we have Esteban Dalel, and he is the CTO and co-founder of Watermelon Tools. And they raised $250,000 before getting their first customer, and now they've got over 4,000 users. Esteban, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Paris. It's great to be here.
Good to have you here. Thank you for making time for us today. How did you get your very first, let's start with investors and then go into users and then customers. So how did you get your first investors? Because that's a type of customer.
Yeah, okay. So let's back up.
Okay.
I'll go back to this original story of why watermelon is called watermelon. We started during the pandemic. We are two extroverts, developers working in the same company. And we were tired of not meeting new people. Like, we wanted a beer. We wanted to go out and party. And we honestly decided to take over the company's Slack and started creating channels to meet people, like Song of the Day. Let's watch a series and comment on it, like book club for series. We had a volleyball thing that went crazy. And after a few, HR came to us and told us, like, we love what you're doing. You got to stop doing it. It's getting out of hand. We're going to do it from now on. And we got together, had a couple beers, and noticed that we could productize this. So that's when Watermelon is born. As a company group creator that helps companies connect for remote workers. We were a remote company. And we started talking to people on LinkedIn, and they liked it. But as we were talking to HR, they wanted to be in control of what was the themes. But if you're going to talk about the latest release, that's work stuff. You don't want to be in a group that talks more about work stuff. So it didn't work out, but we noticed that, my dog's scratching herself. I'm sneezing. Okay.
That's funny.
You didn't want to be in a group that talked more about work after work, right?
Right.
So we noticed that wasn't the route we wanted to take. But we found out that we could work together. So we went to Miami Hack Week, which is a crypto hackathon, after talking to a lot of developer friends to figure out the problem that they had the biggest pain on. And they all told us pretty much the same thing. Nobody documents code. And we asked, do you document code? No, I don't. So nobody documents code. That was the answer. And we started coding a thing to automatically document code. We started applying to accelerators in the hackathon. It was a week long, so we were rushing. And by the end of the hackathon, we had a small little thing that worked on VS Code to help developers write documentation. And an accelerator here in Latin America contacted us and said that we were gave us our first 100,000 just on the promise, just on the PowerPoint, just on the people on the hackathon downloading our extension.
Wow. That's really cool.
Thank you.
And so you raised a little bit more after that. How did you raise those additional funds?
Okay. The first 100K allowed us to quit and work on this full time. We changed the idea a little more because documentation wasn't the way. It was more about transmitting ideas from one brain to another. Telepathy is how we like to call it. Because nobody likes reading documentation either. So we had to think about something else. After demo day, we raised a little money from Latin American investors, and we got popular in Japan, a week before demo day. We think it's because of the cute watermelon with huge anime eyes we have as a logo. We like to think it's about that, but we actually can't read Japanese, so we're not totally sure. So we raised 50K from those angels, and
really quick. So where were they able to download your watermelon tools or interact with it? Was it
in the VS
GitHub?
Code marketplace? Think about it like going to
Gotcha.
GitHub and clicking clone repo. You get it? That's pretty much it. And
Gotcha.
it installed on the sidebar of the IDE, the integrated development environment. So
yeah.
you're looking at code, and there was watermelon. And we start noticing that more people come from America. We get popular on Twitter. We get popular on Reddit. And a lot of people are in America. And we're not serving that market because we're in Latin America. We have the same time zone, and we do speak English, but we have to be here in the States to be able to actually serve it. So we start looking at options. We applied to YC and get rejected. We applied to YC with doing the context thing with AI, and they said, like, it's not going to work. Nobody's trained a good enough AI. This was way before ChatGPT. So right now, of course, we integrated it like
Copilot.
And got accepted into TechSearch Miami. So we're now headquartered in Miami. They gave us $100K.
Awesome.
We're halfway through the program right now. And we're launching new stuff like every week. It's been crazy. We're moving so fast.
Wow. So give us a little insight into the like technical co-founder lifestyle. Because you hear, there's like stereotypes of how much effort it goes into. I mean, you seem like a young guy. You've probably not got a whole life built out yet. So you've got a bunch of time to put into this. What's it like? Like, what's the demand on your time like? How much time do you work a day on this project?
Okay. So, I have a hard time tracking it because sometimes I'll wake up like at 6 a.m., start coding, then go walk my dog, come back for breakfast, and not do anything that day. So like 1 hour. And some days it's Sunday and I'm watching Netflix and I turn off the TV and sit down and code all the way till the sun comes up again. Mm-hmm. So I would say that because of, I'm young and I don't have a wife. I don't have a girlfriend currently. The only thing that takes over my time is eating, going to the gym, and my dog. So pretty much anytime I'm not doing that, I'm thinking about watermelon. You're supposed to not be your startup, but it's a 2-person startup. And we're doing very good with 2 people. So whenever I'm not working, 50% of the company is doing nothing. So it's heavy on my brain. Sure.
So literally most of your time you're working on the project.
Yeah. Anytime I'm awake at the gym, like pulling weights, I'm thinking about like the next product thing. I left a bug over there. I'm going to go fix this, send this email all the time.
Wow. Okay. So the dream is go from where you are now, and you said you have about 4,000 users, but right now you don't have actual paying customers, you said. So talk a little bit about how you guys plan on going from 4,000 users to paid customers.
Okay, I'm going to be blunt here. Developers are assholes. Getting a developer to pay for anything is very hard. Like, that in Netflix, they even pay for their Spotify. You can buy books on the Netflix card. It's crazy. Like, we get the best perks in the world. So getting a developer to pull out their own card and pay for anything is very hard. And developer tools always start by getting a critical mass to move with the tool to create a product that every developer would like to work with and move up to the manager for them to buy it. So that's the story of Twilio. That's the story of Cloudflare. That's the story of GitLab. The big names have all gone that way, and we have to do it that way. That's the playbook.
Okay. So what do you think is critical mass for your tool?
Honestly,
how many users?
We think that after 10,000 downloads, we have a grip on how to do this properly. We're getting more and more people to try our product, and we're removing the paywall. We noticed that having a paywall doesn't work. So we're going to give it out for free, the full product, on up to a point. Like, you can only use it 50 times a month or some number. We haven't decided. But you get the whole experience, right? The whole thing. And you're going to tell your manager, like, hey, I was doing it with this tool, but they need my credit card. Please give me the credit card. That's how we go about it.
So kind of like how Chat GPT, for example, a recent example of something that launched for free, got a lot of people hooked on it because it was such a, powerful tool for some people, and then eased into, hey, now there's a pro version for even more reliability or performance or whatever upsell to those pro level features. And a lot of people like me, I was glad to swipe the credit card because I was like, man, this is super useful for me, for lots of different reasons. And so I easily swiped for $20 or whatever the Chat GPT fee is. And so I guess it's that same kind of thing. Like, you want to become so ingrained into a developer's process of doing their daily job, that it's an of course type decision. They're like, well, yeah, I just have to keep having this or have this next level feature that they're launching or whatever it is.
Literally, we want to be able to win the scream test, that when you disconnect the service and someone screams, it's required. So we want to be that. Like, when we pull the plug, are you going to gel or are you going to be like, oh, okay? We don't want that. Okay. We want you to be stuck to go take a walk after, like, how do I solve this? I need watermelon. Watermelon used to be like this. Like, whenever Copilot is down, my brain goes into panic. I know how to search on Google, but it's so easy there. So easy.
So Copilot, you're referring to the AI like coding assistant tool that GitHub has, where it'll help fill out as you code. It'll predict what you're trying to code. And a lot of times it helps fill in.
It's very good. Yeah. Also, they say in GitHub that like 50% of the code that has been uploaded in the last year since Copilot was released has been written by Copilot. So half the code that has been sent out by developers is AI made.
Wow.
We've become like approvers of the AI more than anything. So I think that's great. I think that's great because people that used to write, 10 features a week can now write 15. Right. So it's not about lines of code. Everyone knows how to make a button, but that's not where the value is. What does the button do? Where does it take me? Is it faster for me to pay with this new button? That's the kind of thing that the new features are going to make. So we want Watermelon to be that. We have a lot of design partners. I cannot give you names, but we got a couple Series A startups that are using our product inside them that we don't charge to, but they are on a free plan. The whole team is using it, and they're loving it.
So eventually, are you going to do hey, it's a price per seat or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We always say it's $30 per person per month. If you pay by the year, you pay less. But imagine this: you're saving your developers 2 meetings a week, and at the price point of a developer's time, that's a lot of money per person.
For sure. Okay, so now we've talked about kind of your initial story and the kind of overall goals of where you're at users wise, customers wise. Let's go a little deeper into what it actually does, what your company does, or what the tool you've built actually does, because we're kind of talking around it now. And why would your tool, Watermelon, save a developer 2 meetings a week?
Okay, the worst case scenario is you're a remote distributed company and the people in your team are in Japan, India, Portugal, San Francisco, and Brazil, right? That's the worst case scenario. Everyone's everywhere. You're so far away. One person has a question and it has to go 24 hours around the globe before everyone has had their say. And if they have a follow-up question, you've lost half the week without work. That's the absolute worst scenario. So people are terrible at searching, honestly, and people are lazy. It could have been in your Slack for days and you wouldn't have found it because you don't know exactly how to search for it. We do that digging for you. In Jira, in Slack, we're bringing in more services every other week.
And so if I'm a developer and I just glanced at your site and it says it gives code context and you can highlight a block of code and basically somehow get insight into everything related to that piece of code. Can you maybe give a really specific example? I'm a developer working on a home page of a website. working on a specific feature.
Let's say you had a bug with the American Express cards, and you are looking at the code that processes American Express. So we're going to search everywhere that says American Express, cards, billing. It has like 4 digits. Anything that has 4 digits in text, everywhere is text, right? Any pull request that has it, any Slack message that has it, and we're going to surface it. Eventually, you're going to be able to get into the conversation of why, like, we cannot handle American Express cards properly. Someone has had this fight before, and they can probably solve it. So it's like talking to the ghost of the person, and bringing in those ideas. Yeah.
Okay, so it's almost like a universal search tool for any piece of code in your project. It'll search across all of your apps that you use to communicate or deal with the code, and give you results.
Precisely.
That's everything that's connected.
Precisely. And you, and we're moving on to like we started in your code, and now we're moving on. Like we are serving right now Jira, Slack, and GitHub. We want you to be able to search in Jira, in Slack, and GitHub across all the other services. So you're always in a contextual context.
So is that like through a browser extension or something? How would you achieve that?
We have apps for every service, and we've thought about like an extension, but it's a little far-fetched.
Okay.
So we're thinking about like, where does the developer actually live? So we're like primarily using keyboard hotkeys. Yeah, thank you. Keyboard hotkeys. We're moving like to make the services faster with a strong caching. It's very complicated. Like developers are hard to serve. So if we can serve the hardest developers, the most annoying ones, the rock stars, we can serve the other 99%, right? And everyone's going to be benefited. Like people from marketing are going to be able to know in what state is this piece of code that I requested in. Why did they remove it? Why did they change it? What did the team talk about it that they didn't include us in? So it's going to be context for everyone in the company. That's the dream.
Okay. Awesome. Providing more context. All right. And so that's why it saves like developer meetings, because instead of having to talk to all these people, you can just search through all the conversations that have happened and all the activity that's happened and probably answer a lot more questions and reduce the amount of meetings or Slack messages you'd have to send. And so that means less interruptions of everybody's time. Everybody can stay in flow and keep being productive and not having to, realign themselves and get back into what they were working on. Okay.
You brought a thing that we love to say. Like our biggest competitor is the tap on the shoulder. That is when two people get together and can actually look at the same screen, use the same keyboard. That's when you're like transmitting the best ideas because you see their faces. You're osmoting your brain to the other person. So in a remote world that it's where everyone's going to, we are going to be the tool that all companies use to communicate without interrupting others.
Wow. Watermelon tools. Okay. And are you like ramping up for more fundraising, taking on more investors? What's kind of your current goals as far as?
Yes. We dream with being a WhatsApp kind of story, a company that gets huge with very few people by hiring the correct ones only. We're going to raise big money very soon. I'm not available to say it.
That's fine.
Big money very soon to get to that point. We're trying to get customers right now and design partners, especially big companies that have pains that we can solve to create a product for them and then like expand it for everybody. That's our target right now. We're moving faster actually, now that we have more money in the bank and not using it, honestly.
So you're just surviving, going to the gym, getting back to the code.
That's the start of life. Like, it is started in a garage. I like having an office, but this is software. Like, I only need a keyboard, a good screen, and my headphones to get into the flow and build a world-class product. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of Zoom calls with customers. But I mean, I don't consider myself the smartest person in the room. Like, it's a lot of grit. It takes a while to learn how to code, but you can no code it now. We chose to do something that we enjoy as a founder. We have founder market fit. We're developers and we like solving developer problems, just like we were extroverts solving extrovert problems. And we're not getting tired of this. That's why we want to have money in the bank to be able to do this like for years and years and years.
Wow. That's cool. So you're dedicated to the craft of building software, being a programmer.
Yeah. The hard part is selling. Like, developers always like to build solutions and then they have to go out and sell it and panic. But luckily, I'm an extrovert and, I feel no shame in telling you, like, hey, install it right now. We're not charging, but it's going to cost you $30 starting, I don't know, June. And people are going to be like, sure, I just met the guy, just download it. And it's going to snowball into eventually them trying it out, having an aha moment, and actually knowing, like, hey, this works. I downloaded it because I like the guy, but the thing works. And that's our goal right now.
That's exactly why I started this podcast, is because I've come from a design and development background back in the day and been a part of a lot of small projects or trying to start my own project. And then you build something or you work on something or you help launch something, quote unquote, launch it to where it exists somewhere on the internet, but nobody cares. Like, nobody knows it exists. Nobody knows what you've been doing in the dark, heads down, just making stuff. And so there's that moment where I've realized on past projects, I was like, oh, well, just because this exists doesn't mean customers automatically are going to flock to you. You have to do something between finishing your product or the first version, that MVP or whatever it is that just works or solves a problem. And there's something that has to happen between that and convincing that first person to give you money. And that's what this whole show is about, is the something in between there. What are people doing to build that connection between, hey, we got a product or service and now we've convinced a human to actually give us money for it.
Yeah. They say build it and they will come. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Like, you can have a terrible product, but win in distribution, like, I don't know, Craigslist or Wikipedia, which are horrible products. They renewed Wikipedia, but that was like a year ago, like very recent. But they were horrible products that just worked and people loved them because it worked. And they won in distribution. Wikipedia is the first result pretty much anytime you search on Google. Craigslist was simply like the college student thing. And when they graduated college, they kept on using it. Mm-hmm. Facebook beat MySpace because they were like exclusive at the beginning. So yes, distribution beats product anywhere if you have a decent product. You can win on a decent product with great distribution, but you cannot win on a mediocre distribution with a great product.
Yeah. All right. So maybe talk a little bit about how you're planning to make that transition. Because you're at that point, you've got users, which are a type of customer for sure. But like you're saying, you're just trying to hit critical mass to where it makes sense to start charging people or risk charging people, because I know you might be concerned about losing users or whatever. But talk about maybe some strategies or tactics you guys have talked about how to make that crossover.
Sure. Freemium products are a very complicated thing. Like, you got to know when the free part is too good and people are like abusing it, where to turn it premium. So I love the example of Spotify, because you're like, they give you 3 songs and they don't let you skip. and every songs they give you an ad with the Spotify Premium. You can blah 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 blah, and you're like vibing, coding hard, or like in the gym, and then you get the ad. Damn it, I'm gonna pay for it. I was vibing so good because if you had 4 songs, you could get through the whole shower without an ad, right? Like that's where the cutoff happens. So you gotta be measuring all the time. You gotta understand your users' psyche, their brain when it relaxes, and just before that happens, you pull it out, right? You dangle the cookie in front of them just enough to make them go for the credit card. So it's a very complicated balance between not paywalling, because that's probably what happens with the New York Times. Anyone shares you an article, you read the headline, you read the first paragraph, and you have no idea what it was about. You close it and don't want to discuss it. So they're becoming this sensationalist thing that just gives great headlines without any content. Unlike YouTube, like you get through half the video and then they pull it out. So freemium products are very hard, and you should start something that you don't have to balance this out. Like start selling from the beginning.
So have you considered like a enterprise approach, like B2B style? Because I know, like you're saying, freemium, it's one of the hardest, like direct to consumer. And you mentioned that, you're trying to maybe go after managers somehow. Because it does seem easier when you're going at B2B, because you don't have to have, serving all these customers with some product that has to work for whatever millions or hundreds of thousands of people. You can just kind of cater those initial features to those fewer, higher paying customers. Well,
yeah, but going for the big players is a different beast. Going for a big player requires like several people to approve the budget, several people to be sold to. You have to have like security things. They're not going to trust a company that was created a year ago by 2 random guys on the internet. So yes, we've considered it, but we know that we're not ready for it. It's going to destroy our morale. And that's a thing inside teams. Like, growth heals all wounds. If you're fighting your co-founder, go out and sell and make your company work, and you're going to stop fighting, or you're going to change the fight for something else, right? You're going to be discussing analytics, and suddenly you're going to be discussing revenue, and you're going to be talking about nice stuff in between the fights, and eventually it's going to be about that. Yeah. So go for the right level that you're able to tolerate. Would be my recommendation. We decided that we don't go full corporate yet. We don't go for anyone over 100 people. And we mean people, which means teams of developers of 50 or less. So we're serving this niche where we know we can handle their problems. They're starting to the pain. The big corporate have different pains and different ways of scratching their itches. So not yet.
All right. So you're looking at the kind of mass approach, going after lots of different users. Are there any other kind of tactics, or, that's right. You mentioned that you go out and sell, if there's a frustration or something, you go out and sell, and you've gotten 4,000 users or more right now. What type of selling are you doing? Is it just, hey, it exists in the marketplace? Are you running any ads with some of that money? Or, what is the selling that you're doing?
Okay, go out and sell means a lot of things for a lot of different companies. In our case, I'm wearing a pink sweater to anywhere I go. So people ask me, hey, what the hell is watermelon? And I stand up there and pitch them in 30 seconds in a restaurant, in beers, in developer events, anywhere I can pitch. It's an opportunity for me to get a sale, right? So I post a lot on Twitter, and I retweet it from the Watermelon account. I go out on LinkedIn and start hitting random people with the pitch. I go out and have stickers and like knock on offices
Really?
and give out stickers. It's crazy. Like if I don't feel like coding, I'm gonna still be selling because it helps me communicate my ideas better. You
Sure.
have to expose yourself to the no's to be able to sneak into this yes.
Yeah.
It's hard. I know, like being in front of people is hard. Singing in front of an audience is hard, but you gotta do it. That's how you make a business.
Interesting, because normally, I don't think, for myself at least, I don't think of a developer tool as something that gets sold manually, like you're saying. But it makes sense that you'll definitely get an edge and you'll get more customers if you do that. Because I think maybe there's this stereotype or this kind of idea of how tech startups get started, launched, and grow. And it's like some kind of mixture of social media or getting hot on or viral on some, dev forum or Hacker News or, something like that, like to where there's just these few paths. So that's really cool to hear you using every old school tactic you can think of to just literally go do person to person sales to say, hey, go download our app, our tool, and try it out. Is that kind of how the pitch goes, or how do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, the channels are saturated. Everyone wants to be in the top of Hacker News. Everyone wants to go on Reddit and become popular. Everyone wants to be on Product Hunt #1.
Sure.
So you're competing for attention that people don't have anymore. So either you're a TikTok superstar and create the best memes for Twitter, or you do it the hard way. And, well, we haven't gotten lucky with being popular on Reddit. Well, the Japanese Reddit, but not the American one. So you got to do the footwork, whatever it is. Like if you're very good at doing ads on Facebook, you go on ahead. You got to figure out, you got to test it out, because people are not going to know about this randomly. Like there's millions of companies out there you've never heard of. And distribution wins. Distribution always wins. You gotta be the best at putting your company in people's eyes. So that's why you see like billboards of the Nike logo, just with the Nike logo. Always be thinking about our shoes. Always. So that's what you want to do.
Okay, so you're trying to make the little anime watermelon everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere you can get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you did say that some of the types of sales and marketing you're posting everywhere you can on social media, it sounds like, and just kind of a shotgun approach of just trying everything just to see what gets traction so that you can see what works. And I think that's cool how you're using your own kind of personal rhythms, like coding most of the day, you need a break, perfect time to go get some human interaction and take advantage of that to do a little sales. So do you do you intentionally say, I'm going to go to so many like developer events or conferences or like networking things?
Yes. I go to the most I can. Luckily, I'm tall, and seeing a tall guy with a pink sweater like opens up conversations super easily.
Get a tattoo on your forehead, the watermelon.
I thought about painting my head like red and green, watermelon red. That would start conversations a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
But yes, I mean, a startup is a marathon. If you're lucky, it's going to become a sprint, and you're going to be super popular in the first 5 months. But in most cases, either you go down or you become popular after the 5th year, right? So you got to hold on to that. You cannot destroy yourself in the process. The hustle culture has told us that you need to get to the first 100 lovers in your first month. Holy shit, no, actually sleep. People are going to be there next month too. And yes, speed is important, but if you destroy yourself, there's no more company as a founder. So
Exactly.
you gotta be careful about the balance. I do recommend exercising and taking some sun every day, uh, and talking to customers. You
Yeah.
want customers' money. It's great raising money, but that's just like for flaunting it. The best companies are the ones that are self-sustainable and you make payroll every month. Raising money puts a lot of stress in your life that will help you destroy yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, hustle culture can definitely it can kill you, for sure, depending on how you interpret it and your own personal ambition. You can definitely drive yourself to an early grave. So that's good that you're focusing on exercise and a little bit of balance. So, all right, you got this tool out there. Anybody can download it, I guess, from your website.
Yeah, from the website and on the VS Code Marketplace. We're gonna be soon in the GitHub Marketplace, Jira and Slack too.
Okay.
Look for the happy watermelon with the huge eyes.
All right. And do you yourself and your co-founder, are you the only ones that handle like marketing related tasks, like posting on social media? Are you kind of like building in public, kind of like Peter Levels? I don't know if you're familiar.
Yeah. Levels is a great example of a person that has created things by himself.
Right.
Crazy guy. I love the guy. We have freelancers helping us ghostwrite to be able to post all the time. We of course look at it and edit it to make it sound like us. Um, because the blank canvas is very hard, but yes, it's
Sure.
us um, handling everything, moving fast, thinking a lot, trying out new things, fighting amongst ourselves without telling anybody. It's hard. It's hard. Having a co-founder is very hard. It's worse than being married because there's a contract that will make you very poor if you break it. So you gotta be careful about who you pick to be your co-founder, and you should honestly balance out your strength. You should have similar things, be able to sit next to each other for a long time. But one person, and this is like startup bookish, the hustler and the hacker have to get together.
Hmm.
Someone has to be able to go out and sell, and the other one has to be able to sit down and build. So it's better if both can do both, but you gotta be specialized in one thing. You cannot be thinking about two things at the same time. Selling is very, very hard, very time consuming. Building is very, very hard, very time consuming. So
Yeah.
it's not better to be one of the or the other.
So how is your specific co-founder relationship? Are you you're the CTO, so I'm guessing that the other one is it design focused or business, or what's their focus?
He's a business guy. He actually,
Okay.
I actually went for computer science in college. He went for business in college. We met in a hackathon. We didn't like each other, honestly, the first day because we were both extroverts fighting for attention. So we didn't like each other, but we kept bumping into each other. And after we graduated college, we were super best friends. We had organized a lot of parties. We had created like a group of people that talked about startups during their free time for the whole college. So like a club. And we actually went separate ways and then came back. I invested in his company. He was working with another friend. They went broke. And then I started working with the guy. We became roommates after college. I rented out a place and he got a room for it. And then we split up again. He went to Vietnam when we had already worked on Watermelon for a few months. And we could actually test out what remote companies have to suffer the most. Literally, it was a 12-hour difference. So our product had to be that good for us to be able to work in that super difficult situation.
Because you were rarely online probably at the same time.
Yeah, we only talked about 1 hour a week.
Wow.
Face to face, yeah.
So you're using your own tool to help overcome that?
That's very important. Dog fooding, using your own product is very important. It's cool that you build it for someone else, but if you don't feel the pain, you're not going to know where to put the Band-Aid, right? You're not going to find the bugs. You're not going to find the pain is not going to be there. You're going to be looking at it and be empathetic, but it's not your pain. You can just walk out.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And so does he program at all? Or is it just
he has he has his own little test.
Okay, cool. That's interesting. It's always interesting to hear the dynamics of co-founders and how, how the tasks get broken up.
That's the thing. Like he talks more to the customers. I hunt for the very hard developers that I want to cater to. He goes with the bulk of people, right? So we're putting together the idea of the hard developer and the average one because we gotta serve a little for everybody, but we're focusing on several use cases. And you gotta talk to them all the time. So he will bring in a lot of ideas and I will filter them. And sometimes I will pop out a lot of problems and he will filter them. So I'm building and he's selling, and we're different forces on different sides that hold each other accountable on properly prioritizing our time. That's the thing that we have the least of.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Esteban, I appreciate you sharing your time with us. I'm going to let you get back to coding here in a second. Let's pretend really quick that we got a room of another 10,000 of your target customers listening, and they're waiting on you to tell them why they should use your product.
You're going to be saving your developers headaches and rage quitting every other day. So your developers are going to be in a better mood and they are going to build faster by using Watermelon. And you're going to be having a better place to work.
All right. And once again, you can find Watermelon Tools on watermelontools.com. And you mentioned VS Code Marketplace, and then the other marketplace is coming soon.
Yeah, precisely.
Okay. All right, Esteban, thanks for being with us today, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Paris, for having me. It's been great.